Do you have friends or relatives who seem trapped in a never-ending cycle of debt? Or perhaps you've felt that crushing weight on your own shoulders lately? It is fascinating, yet tragic, how borrowing can feel like a lifeline in the moment, only to become a chain that pulls us deeper into stress and uncertainty. In this video, we are going to peel back the layers to understand why debt is so addictive and how it quietly consumes your psychological, financial, and emotional freedom. The psychology of debt is an intricate tapestry woven from human instinct and cognitive shortcuts that often lead us away from long-term stability. At its core, this cycle frequently begins with the powerful drive for instant gratification, where the brain's reward system prioritizes a dopamine hit over future security. This is exacerbated by optimism bias, a mental filter that convinces us our future selves will be significantly wealthier or more disciplined than we are today. We tell ourselves that next year's promotion or a sudden windfall will easily clear the balance, leading us to sign for money we haven't yet earned. Beyond individual psychology, there is the heavy weight of social signaling and the evolutionary need to belong to a high-status group. In a world driven by social media, many feel an invisible pressure to maintain an image of success that doesn't match their bank account. We often view these purchases not as liabilities, but as essential investments in our identity and social standing. This cognitive dissonance allows us to justify high-interest loans by focusing on the utility of the object, rather than the erosion of our wealth. Modern technology further complicates this by making the act of spending nearly invisible through digital wallets and buy now, pay later apps. These tools decouple the pleasure of buying from the pain of paying that comes with physical cash, making transactions feel less impactful. Financially, the trap is often set by a fundamental misunderstanding of how interest works over long periods. Most people are conditioned to look only at the monthly installment, ignoring the reality that they might end up paying double the original price. This financial illiteracy is often exploited by lending systems designed to make borrowing effortless while making repayment complex. The emotional landscape of debt is perhaps the most hidden and damaging aspect of the entire cycle. For many, spending money they don't have is a desperate attempt to fill an emotional void or a coping mechanism for chronic stress. The temporary high of a new purchase provides a fleeting sense of power in a world where the individual might otherwise feel helpless. However, this peak is inevitably followed by a deep valley of shame, guilt, and financial anxiety that haunts every waking moment. This anxiety often leads to physical symptoms, including insomnia and high blood pressure, as the body reacts to the threat of ruin. The shame associated with debt frequently results in financial infidelity, where a person hides their loan balances from their spouse. This secrecy creates a wall of isolation, making it even harder for the individual to seek the help they so desperately need. When money is borrowed from friends or family, the emotional stakes are even higher, shifting the relationship from equality to obligation. The resulting resentment can simmer for years, eventually tearing apart social circles once built on trust. Breaking free requires a radical shift in perspective that goes far beyond simple math or budgeting apps. It demands an honest confrontation with the emotional triggers that lead to impulsive spending in the first place. It involves learning to find value in delayed gratification and understanding that true status comes from independence, not appearances. We must recognize the systemic traps laid by a culture that equates our self-worth with our purchasing power. Cultivating even a small emergency fund serves as a psychological shield, reducing the survival anxiety that leads to high-interest borrowing. It also requires the courage to be transparent about one's financial situation with loved ones, to break the cycle of secrecy. Ultimately, the journey out of debt is a process of reclaiming your autonomy and deciding that peace of mind is worth more than any temporary thrill. It is a commitment to living within your means today so that your future can be owned entirely by you, not a lender.